I'm from Baltimore, and I lived in Park Heights. I'm not sure if you're familiar with Park Heights, but I DJ'd this place called I Can't Weekend every weekend, and I Can't Weekend is or was because I don't think it exists anymore, but it was a rehab facility for people that were suffering from addiction. I didn't know that at the time. I just thought somebody was saying like, "Yo, we want you to come DJ," and I'm like, "All right, cool." And it was me and my buddy Tyrone, and we would get picked up on the back of a pickup truck every Friday because they were having a celebration. I didn't know what that celebration was. It was a person's graduation because they were sober for 1 week. So that's what they were celebrating every Friday. They would make food. They have a big hall. We brought out speakers. They had their own speakers. We would combine them together. We put the amps together, and they owned the thrift store that we went to shop in. So eventually they asked us, like, could we DJ? And then that was our first gig. And they paid us $400. They paid kids $400. Yeah.
So were you like 16 at the time or something like that?
I think I might have been, how old are you in ninth grade?
14?
Yeah.
You were a freshman in high school DJing.
Yeah.
For people
yes,
graduating
for adults. Yes. Yeah. Yeah. And I did that for 4 years. And then I DJ'd only a couple more years after that.
You have a son.
Mm-hmm.
So tell me about that. How did that happen?
Well, when a man and a woman love each other.
Oh, I'm not looking forward to that conversation with my daughter, but it's gonna happen.
It's difficult.
Are you having those combos with him?
I had a couple conversations with him. You know what I mean? Because he's a boy. You know, they be coming across stuff, and they live in the world of the internet. So he didn't already heard it from everybody else. So why not hear it from his father? Plus, I've never had that talk with my dad. So you know what I mean? I'm like, I gotta break the cycle, yo. We gotta talk about this stuff. Yeah. So you know what I mean? It's just one of those things. You never know, but I'll talk to him about it a little bit more. I think you got to do it. You got to visit that conversation like biannually or something, you know, in this day and age.
Yeah, for sure.
You have to.
What's your boy doing now? He's entering high school? Football?
Football. He's a 10th grader now, officially. He did really good on his first freshman year in high school. And he's being promoted to the 10th grade, and I'm very proud of him. But yeah, he is a defensive back and a wide receiver, and he starts football camp July 8th. So yeah, he is. Did you ever? Serious.
I know you mentioned you play football and basketball and all the sports growing up, but were you ever like? Did you play high school football?
I ain't played nothing.
I
was a nerd, bro. I was.
You were like, yo, you like these beats?
Yep, that's exactly. I was a computer nerd, and I was into this music. I was making my own radio shows and stuff like that. Because the streets wasn't for me, man. Like I saw it, you know. I seen a lot growing up, but I chose not to be a part of that. And like I said, I was an entrepreneur from the beginning, and that did not lead to any money.
Yeah. When you say like you've seen a lot of stuff, like if we can go into that, like, what do you think your parents had an influence on you to be like, Jamar, don't do that, or don't go down.
No,
you said
they never said anything. I mess with my mom all the time. She was like, "Where were you? What were you doing?" I was like, "Selling drugs," and then I would go upstairs, and she was like, "All right." She would never say. She would never be like, "Were you really selling drugs?" She didn't do none of that.
So you saw. I mean, what did you see? What are you talking about, like drug deals and
I saw my first body at 5. Ooh. Yeah, we were like walking to the store and
a dead body.
Yeah. Yeah, so I mean, it's like I've seen stuff, you know what I mean? I've seen people get shot, I've seen all that stuff. So it's a different world, you know. At least it was, you know. I don't think it's like that anymore. It's certain parts of Baltimore that, you know, it's still a lot of things going on, but you learn how to operate, you learn how to navigate a little bit more, you know. And I think this generation, if you're not raised in that, if you're not living in that exact block, then you don't know how to navigate those things, you know.
Yeah,
you know, it's just it's a certain energy that you channel when you're able to exist in those areas and not look like a mark, you know. So it just turns on when I'm in certain places. But I noticed that my son is as big as I am now. Like I say, he can wear my clothes and whatnot, but it doesn't come on. I don't see it in him you know? So I make sure to keep him away from those things, but I make sure that he has access to it so he can understand it and see it. You know, he's not sheltered. That's a difference between being of it, being in it, and being sheltered from it completely, you know, in my opinion.
Yeah, no, I mean, that's, I got caught in a situation about 7 or 8 years ago in Baltimore. I was working. You know Javante Davis up in Baltimore?
Tank.
He's like Tank, yeah. He's 30-0. Did I tell you this story?
No.
Oh,
no.
dude. So I'm at his gym, working for Showtime. And
Upton?
I don't know the names, man. I don't know where I was.
It's probably Upton.
You walk out and it's like, I don't know, just not familiar. I'm like, you know. And, of course, I'm sticking out, right? I'm only white dude. There's like...
Pennsylvania Avenue.
Yeah. So
you're either buying or you're a cop.
Okay, so you already know the story. So I walk out. I'm like 100 feet away from the gym, going to the corner store to get some batteries because I don't know, man. It wasn't my day. I needed some batteries.
I'm about to say, like, what do you mean you need some?
That's
right,
exactly
go ahead.
The story. You can tell the story
What you
because
need
I walked
batteries
down. Yeah, I walked down, and this guy comes up behind me and he's like, "You want a boy? You want a boy? You want a boy?" And I'm like, what the I'm like, oh boy, here we go. I was like, all right, so I don't want to ignore this guy.
You thought he was talking about trafficking?
Bro, I had no idea. And I know you probably know what it is, but at the time, so I'm like, what the fuck is he talking about? So I'm not going to ignore him. And I just go, nah, man, I'm just trying to get some batteries. He's like, you came down here for some batteries? And I was like, yeah, dude. So then I go get the batteries and come back and so I come back to the set and I like tell the guys, I'm like, yeah, that was maybe not a great idea, but I got some batteries. And I tell them the story and the guy's like, oh, you know, sex trafficking's real. I'm like, nah, dude, he wasn't asking that. So then, of course, I like months later, I'm telling the story again to some grip in Baltimore. He's like, oh yeah, it's cocaine. And then girl is heroin. Is that right? But man, that was like that. And I just remember walking. And like this was happening and I'm walking down and there's probably like 50 people and they're all just like staring at me. And I was like, I'm about to get jumped. I was so nervous. I was like, I just felt like prey, honestly, bro. It felt so weird. I was like,
nothing to fear. And that's why I was talking about looking like a mark. If you're not possessing the energy to know that nobody's after you, bro. Nobody's after you. Those people there, they either want to sell their drugs and make their money or they want to do their drugs and spend their money. That's it. You know what I mean? And the rest of the people is just trying to live. Everybody's just trying to live. So the only people that are afraid are the people that's not from there because they don't understand. Like that's just what it is, you know? So yeah, nobody there was trying to rob you though at all. The only time you get robbed is when you actually look afraid. You know what I mean? It was like, I can fuck with him. Like, let me go ahead and
But
that's it.
I just mean like the eyes, like they were looking at me like crazy. I was like, all right,
because you like a cop, yo. Did you have your hat backwards? Did you have glasses on? Did you have sunglasses? You know them white people glasses I'm talking about, fucking Oakleys or whatever.
Oh yeah.
Did you have those on?
No, I didn't. Okay, have sunglasses,
good. But yeah, because you don't normally wear glasses. Right?
I got sunglasses, but no, I don't have glasses.
If you wear your hat backwards like that
with sunglasses,
and you have sunglasses, you look like an undercover cop.
Okay,
that's what you look like. That's why they was looking at you.
Yeah. All right. Well, next time we go up for Showtime, I'm be like, hit up Jamar.
No, don't hit me up.
You don't want to.
You don't need to hit me.
You pay though.
Nah, you don't need to hit me unless I'm the camera guy.
That's what I'm saying. No. That's what I mean. Sorry, my bad. I meant like. You should be doing his video.
Oh shit! Well, put me on. I'll take work any damn day. You know what I mean? But like I mean, it ain't nothing, yo. Like you can go to any hood and with that same energy, you know, and be fine. You know what I mean? Unless it's a hood where it's like color coordinated, if you know what I mean. You know, so honestly, you have the same energy anywhere, and you'll be fine. If you can operate in any neighborhood, to be honest, I think if you can make it in Baltimore, you can make it anywhere.
Wow.
You know.
Yeah. Is there anything that you took from your father and instilled in your son, like any sort of lessons or mentalities of like how to be a father?
I think I'm very attentive on the do's and don'ts that I learned, you know, because my father, like I said, he's a Vietnam vet, so he came home with like trauma. I don't have those things because I have whatever trauma I possessed from his secondhand trauma, you know? So my father has had nightmares about Vietnam for like 30 years. You know what I mean? Like he ain't never go to therapy, so that's what I do now. I go to therapy. You know, like you have to be the better version of the shoulders that you stand on. You know, so those things. That's some of the stuff that I've learned. It's not necessarily direct. Like, son, when you get this age, you should do X, Y, and Z. You know, it's more so. I'm very observant, so I would witness certain things. I'm like, all right, I need to make sure I don't do that. You know, or I like this. I'm gonna make sure I do that. You know, so that's pretty much.
Do you have any examples?
I've learned that communication is more important than anything because our family didn't really communicate that much. So I made sure that I was able to have that emotional intelligence to be able to say things that when something would hurt me or make me feel good or something that I feel like we should talk about. I make sure that I instill that in my son, like, you know, doing those things. You know what I mean? Spending more time, you know, like my father was, he worked all the damn time, but it wasn't like it wasn't like he owned the company. Like he used to, I don't know if you know Murray, you remember Murray's back in the day? Okay, you can look it up, but it's a supermarket in the hood basically. And they were known for their steakums and their French toast sticks. Like anybody that's watching this that know about Murray's know about those French toast sticks and them steakums. But he used to work there when I was a child, you know, like, so he didn't have like a job where he owned, you know what I mean, the company or anything like that. So to me, it didn't really justify to how much he was working, but he did work a lot. So it wasn't a lot of things where he,
Is that rolling?
I have no idea.
Oh shit.
Oh shit. I came back from getting my glasses.
Damn. That's all right. We got the audio.
We got the audio.
I think about a lot. I don't know why I do, but I think about, you know, my childhood and then, you know, adulthood and how it kind of just you keep getting older and you keep growing up and you keep changing. And then if you're lucky, in my opinion, you have a kid, right? If you're blessed with a child, then you are then you're responsible for that child and their upbringing and their life. And, you know, it's a circle of life. So that's kind of what this is all about, what I think about a lot, just being a new father and just like, dang, she's going to have her stories about me or about, you know, my wife. I think it's cool to try to learn from your childhood and then also learn from your parents at the same time, right?
I would challenge you to make sure that you also find a way to recognize when you actually learn it from your child, because they're teachers as well.
Yes, absolutely.
They're teachers as well, and you'll find moments where you like, damn, she taught me that. You know what I mean? And it doesn't have to be something so obvious, like, oh, now I know math. Now I know fractions because of my child. You know, it can be, you know, something like I never thought that it's important for me to make sure I take time out to be present or take time out to just breathe and rest. You know, I asked my son when he went on after he finished his finals, and he had a like a 3-day weekend. I said, "What you gonna do with your time?" He said, "Honestly, I'm gonna just breathe, and I'm gonna take a rest." And I'm like, "What you talking about rest? You don't know nothing about no rest. We don't need no rest, man. But kids work hard. That's their hard. That's their version of hard." And I'm like, I can take a page out of your book, and I can, you know, this weekend I'll try to get some rest in. Yeah, you know, because we get caught up.
That's a good point. You know, I've heard that too. I've heard that before. Like, you learn so much from your kids, right? You also learn how to be a better person, blah, 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 because you want to be like the best role model and all that, which makes sense. But I mean, yeah, she's only 3.5, and she's all, I need my space. And I'm like,
shit, for real?
Dang. She's like, yeah. And so the disconnect is already, you know, you naturally your kids disconnect from you and they live their own lives. But the first few years, if you remember with your boy, they need you for everything. Now she's fine. Like she put herself to bed the other night. Like no stories, no nothing. We were like, oh dang, that was quick.
No stories?
Like no. But then sometimes she'll come back and she'll be like, read a book to me. I'm like, all right. But it's all on her terms now, right?
I'm about to say, like, that's advanced, man.
She's so advanced, dude.
Might want to go ahead and get her some physics books or something.
Dude, she's been independent since forever. We'll see how it turns out.
She might be running a company in the next, I don't know how many years. She might graduate college early, you know?
The whole college thing is, let's send our kids to college, but I'm not sure it's like, I don't want to send my daughter to college unless she really knows what she wants to do. Mm. Does that make sense?
No, it makes perfect sense.
Because I think there's
it's scary.
It is. There's a lot you can do without a college degree. So I'm just kind of
Yes. However, and this is a debate I'm willing to have, and I do it all the time.
Yeah.
I think that college is not about the education that you're going to get. It's about the people that you're going to meet and the places you're going to go.
I agree. There's no debate here for me because that's what, yeah. So that makes sense.
You're going to pay for it no matter what. And I was talking to my brother about this, and he made the best statement that I could ever make. Let me see if I can get it right. So my son's mother and we would talk about college. She's afraid of college because it costs money. And I'm like, take the fear of money out of it. Would it be beneficial? If the answer is yes, then pursue it, you know? Right. Also, if you're saying that, this is for anybody listening as well, if you're saying that you would rather your child go to a trade, there's education in that too. You're not escaping school. So if education is the, is the fear, then what are you going to do? Because no matter what job you do, you have to have some form of education, and it has to last for a period of time. So you're going to do the test. Oh, so people say, I don't test well or whatever. You still got to do these things. Mm-hmm. You have to do all this. It's just that you get a diploma or a certificate.
Yeah.
You're still going to have to do the form of education, and you still have to pay for it one way or another.
Yeah, that's a good point.
There's no escaping it. So in my opinion, if you have to do it, if you have to pay for it, right, why not do it in a place that you're going to build your network with people that might be owners of businesses, Mm-hmm. Got to look at it both sides.
Yeah, no. So let's pivot way over to like your career, and like you started 6 Point, right? Like when did that happen? When did you like?
When my son was born.
Oh, okay. So it's been that long.
It's connected,
okay.
Yeah. Okay. So I was already doing video when he was born. The difference is I didn't have a company name or anything, but 6 Point is more than the company name. Have I ever told you what it meant?
I don't think so.
So 6 Point was originally just the principles that I decided to center my life around. I was literally building his crib in that townhouse I was telling you about. And I was saying to myself that I need to have like principles. You ever heard that saying, if you don't stand for something, you fall for anything? Oh, sorry. Yeah. If you don't stand for something, you fall for anything.
Yeah.
If you don't stand for something, you fall for anything. That stuck and that echoed in my brain. And I decided to create these principles that I felt would allow me to serve as my my guides, so that I wouldn't veer too far off on either direction. And those principles, the first thing that came to my mind was courage, faith, love, energy, strength, and wisdom. Those are those 6 points that make up 6 Point, right? So before it became 6 Point Pictures, it was just that, and that was in 2009. And I used that as a study guide, and I wrote it out. And the way that I guide my life by that is each point in those principles takes up 2 months out of the year. So, and it starts with courage, right? And what do people typically do in January? When the year is starting, they create, what is it called? Resolutions. Yeah. They want to do something new. They want to do something courageous. So that first month of that principle would be to study, right? So that's the study of whatever it is that you want to do for you to be courageous about. And then the second month is for you to put it into practice. So courage, faith, love, energy, strength, and wisdom. And when I realized that this was actually working for me is when things started to align with it. And I found that March, courage, faith, like January, February, right, March, April, it just ended up aligning with like all the religious holidays and things like that, and the study of it and then the practice of it. it just ended up aligning, and this was the order that I just heard. So it just felt like it was divine, and I ended up making these the principles that not only govern my life but govern my business as well. And it started because I wanted to just have something to stand on as a father, you know. So I took those 6 points as my principles for life, and then I created 6-point pictures, and I fully made it a incorporated LLC in the state of Maryland in 2013. You know, so it's been like that ever since. You know.
What have you found success with in regards to like networking and stuff? Because that's like just as important as like the actual skill of directing, and your creative side is like, man, it's all about the people, right? It's like
soft skills.
Yeah.
The statement I was making about college before ties directly into this. If you don't pay for it, then you're going to pay for it later. So you pay for your network when you go to school, right? I went in a different path away from radio because that's what I was studying, and I spent my most time. I ended up getting into TV, but it was only like a couple TV classes, and the TV that they were preparing me for at Morgan State University was news. I didn't like the news because it was nothing but murder, crime, and you know what I mean? It was sensational stuff, and that's not just Baltimore related. That's just period. That's national news. That's global news. It wasn't for me, and I was more into cinema anyway, and that's not what I was being taught there. But I ended up finding my network and having to kind of expand on that. So I found that I needed to spend more time and investment in that area. And I wish that I went to film school because I would have had a broader network that I can call upon. So I spend a ridiculous amount of time. Hey man, how you doing? You know what I mean? Because you have to do that, you know? But it's some people that you genuinely care about, you know what I mean? Because you found yourself connecting with them through difficult shoots, maybe. Like you might spend like 15 days or even 3 days on a shoot that was like, yo, that was hell. But this is my man now. You know what I mean? Like this is my friend now. Like we were in the trenches and we made it through that stupid shoot together, you know, or a shoot that went really well. And that's why you guys keep in touch. So I don't remember the first shoot that we started working on, but I was like, no, this is my guy. He's quiet. He does what he needs to do. He's not a weirdo like a lot of other sound people. Yeah, I said it. You know what I mean? But I found out why that is. I found out why I have a theory.
Oh, well, what is it?
Please,
He's probably right.
Please tell me.
Yeah.
Okay, follow me on this. When you're a sound person, you spend all your life just listening, right? So if you're just listening, you're in your head because you're interpreting what you're hearing all the time. That's why sound people are just so
spacey.
Yeah, it's like you're super. What are you doing, man? He's like, oh yeah, I was like, yo, you a weird dog. So I appreciate sound people because they think and listen to things that we don't have the capacity to pay attention to because we're interfacing with the client and doing all kinds of things. I really value a person like you that can understand and do all of that, you know? Like, so it's rare. And when I find people like that, you be getting them calls, man, because it's hard out here trying to find sound guys that's like, or ladies that are just like not weirdos, man. But I understand it. And because I understand it, I can tolerate it. You know what I mean?
You learn to tolerate people. There's a million different personalities, and so once you learn how to deal with somebody or whatever, you keep it moving, and that's it.
Keep it moving, man. You can only control what you can control. You can't control if somebody's weird or not. You know?
Yeah. I find it interesting to get to know people, where they grew up, their family life was like growing up, and how they got to this point. Like I think anyone that's making a living doing what we do in this crazy film world, freelancing, I think everyone's very successful if you can somehow make it work. I mean, it's hard. It's hard.
Yeah.
And you have creativity and skill and people you got to deal with and stay connected to, like we've been talking about.
Well, let me say this then, because this ties into the next business that I got going on. At some point, I realized that I've been an entrepreneur since I was in single digits, you know, as far as my age. And when I was young, I think I was 6 or 7. I had this magazine called Olympia Sales Club. And Olympia Sales Club was this was this like I guess it's called mail order when you like order something through the mail, right? I didn't really even know what it was. I just knew that it was similar to when you would go knock on your neighbor's doors and try to sell them candy bars, but this time you get to keep the money, right? So Olympia Sales Club, you didn't even really get money, but there's prizes in the back of the magazine. So you could sell all these things, and my mom would help me sell at her job, and I would knock on all the neighbors' doors, and I would knock on their doors, and they would buy some things. And this is the same neighbors that I would knock on their doors in the wintertime, and I would shovel their walkway for a few dollars and stuff like that. So I was always an entrepreneur, and I was always looking for a way to be independent and have my own, you know. When I had that Olympia Sales Club, I was like, yo, talk to my friends Abraham and Tyrone, and I'm like, hey, come across the alley, I want to show you something. Showed them this, and I said, there's a computer in this magazine. We could get this computer, and then we could play games on the computer. So the only way to do that, I got the magazine, I got the subscription, I'm already in the system. If you help me sell this, we can all share the computer. And then I had them selling stuff at their mom's job and at their family and stuff like that. And we all worked together, knocking on the doors and just, you know, getting the sales.
How old were you?
I was like 7. Yeah.
Dang.
Yeah, buddy. So it's like that's
so you were born a hustler, because it's not like your parents are saying, hey, go out
they
and
were
do
not.
something. No.
Yeah. You know what I mean? Like it just was what it was. And these are the same people that I called on, and we knocked on doors, and we pulled our money to make some money through shoveling snow, or we lived by the racetrack, and we'd help all those people that we've never seen before, a number of white people that would come down to Pimlico racetrack, and we were like I said, like 6, 7, and we would go up there with like little push dollies and wagons and stuff like that. They would have all these heavy coolers, and we would help them go from their car to the gate, and they would pay us, you know what I mean, like a few dollars, and they would probably give us some beer too. That was my first time having beer as a child. It was terrible, man. It was terrible, whatever. But we made money, you know what I mean? So, yeah. And pooling our money together at the end of it all, you know, it's nothing different than the squeegee boys that you would see now. Yeah. It's different avenues of doing that. Now, that I said all that to say, like, I've been doing entrepreneurship for the longest time, and now my next venture is moving into a continuation of that desire to be an owner. And that's with film equipment, because I found that a large portion of the company's success for 6 Point Pictures was when we would rent out the equipment to our clients. So with that being said, why not expand that beyond our clients and be able to let other people have that equipment for their production or whatnot. And there's no real competition in the area, because it's only one other company that services the Baltimore, you know, and honestly the rest of Maryland, and that's Red Star. You know what I mean? So why not offer another variety for somebody else to be there? Because other places like LA and all these other film towns, they have how many rental spots? Like up in the 20s maybe? Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? There's only one other one, so why not have? And there's a lot of other people that rent that just don't officially like have storefronts and stuff like that. Right. So that's the direction that I'm going in now, just to continue to diversify the income streams, because with the strikes and everything else that's going on, I'm sure you felt the difference in that, and so have I. And it just gets worse and worse and worse the lower down you go, because now you have to be that one-man band showing up doing events and stuff like that when you were just doing a feature film. Mm-hmm, you know, it's you know, you got to stay flexible, like a friend of mine said, but you also have to know and read the signs and say, what can I do to better protect myself? And I think diversification of your revenue stream is where you should start.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's what I think, for me anyway.
Yeah, well, I encourage you to, I mean, it's a big risk, but how many cameras you got right now?
In-house right now I have 4.
Okay.
And I am about to make a purchase of another 4. Okay. And then another 4 sets of lenses.
Okay. And lights too, or just cameras?
We have a ton of lights. Yeah. We have a ton of lights, but we have a good relationship with Sears Grip and Electric, where they sub-rent our stuff out anyway. So
yeah. So
you know,
maybe just cameras right now. Right?
Just cameras.
Yeah.
Just
well,
cameras.
You know, DC Camera, right? Of course. I think they're now, somebody bought them.
They're still called DC Camera.
They're still called, okay. Mm-hmm. But the Arish, I don't know if you've ever heard of him. Arish, the guy that owned DC Camera, my dad was his go-to sound guy growing up when I was a Little boy.
So you're like legacy. I didn't know that. See,
Oh,
we should
you
be
know-
talking about you, man. Jesus.
Oh, see, I try to hide that because everyone has the
Oh, my
same
God.
conversation. Yeah, my dad's like a DC Sound legend.
I had no idea.
Yeah.
What's your dad's name? Man, I'll hire him, man.
Len Schmitz. He's gone for now.
Oh,
He's,
okay.
I mean, no, that was a weird way to say it. He's retired happily.
Oh, okay, because that's different. That's
yeah,
a
I'm
different,
like, he's gone for
that
now.
means
No,
something
no.
different.
Sorry. No. He's in the Outer Banks, North Carolina.
He's not here right now. He's still alive.
Yes, and he is alive and well. He just turned 70.
Nice.
But he and Ayers had the same conversation with him like 30 years ago. It was like, hey, I got like 3 or 4 cameras, and like there's just nothing in DC. Like there's no like camera rental houses, and that's when my dad was like, do it. And not to say my dad had nothing. He was just like a friend, and he was just like,
so
man.
now it's your turn. You gotta say do it.
That's what I'm saying. Do it.
And that was DC camera. This is Baltimore camera.
Exactly. It's perfect because Baltimore. I just wish there was more stuff happening. You know, like fuck. If you had shows, then because if you can just get that one project or that one show, dang, to get started, that would be. I mean, it sounds like you're.
The
already
world
started.
is different though now.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's more of an independent type of world, and I don't even know if the big shows are being serviced by like even Red Star or Charm City, which it was before. I don't think that they're servicing them like that. If anything, it might be a few lenses.
From LA?
There is coming from wherever they're coming from.
Yeah, right.
Because
New
they
York,
already have a deal, you know, and they're probably renting from like Aria Panavision.
Yeah, that's my only hesitancy is like, I'm not saying you shouldn't do it, but I've heard rental companies renting like 1 day a week type stuff.
1 day weeks, yeah.
1 day weeks. And you're like, how do you compete with that, dude?
You know what it is? And this is what in my studies, you rent your gear out, right? You have your own rental rates and things like that. The way that you have to do it nowadays, we talked about this. Back in the day, this didn't exist. But I bet you if you brought that out, I don't know, let's say like 7-8 years ago, that would be premium products and it would cost way more than it does now. So technology is getting smaller and more affordable. So what you have to do is that you have to evaluate carefully price to earnings ratio. And you have to make sure that when you're buying your inventory, you're not going above a certain price in order to be able to clear your return on your investment in a certain amount of time. So I don't see Baltimore Camera having signature primes anytime soon, is what I'm trying to say. Because I think by watching the market and seeing manufacturers pop up out of nowhere and seeing companies like DZO and whatnot, now I'm servicing the lower tier audience that can't afford to rent signature primes, you know? And these people that might be able to buy some DZOs, but it's not in their best interest at the time. You know what I mean? So that's a market that you can get into with lowering your risk. Because if I go buy, you know, I look at some of the people that I love, which is like Old Fast Glass. The owner over there, Mark LaFleur. I'm pretty sure he has like $2 or $3 million just in cinema glass. That's a crazy investment, you know, and it gets more and more expensive. I think when we started working together, what was that, 21? Something like that?
Something like that.
Yeah. Like I bought a pair of, or a set of Lomo lenses at $43,000. They're worth like $100 now. So, you know what I mean? Like it's an investment and these things can appreciate if you make the right investments, right? But it's not wise when you consider that P&E ratio, you know, if you just buy like signature primes or something, so master primes or, you know, it's just not, it's not worth it. And I think that that's the risk that you should be really, really cautious about. But I'm not going to make that risk right in the front.
Yeah,
you know?
no, that's good. Just to go see
Test
quality versus price.
Yeah, man. It's a different world we live in now. Like this stuff right here, this is changing the landscape. It's changing how people operate. You know, you might run into some people that I've done productions where they just ship me the gear. Nobody wants to do that. The gear was trash. But at the same time, that's the kind of world that we're living in now. You know, more and more companies are buying their own stuff. Like the last shoot that I did at Howard, I offered them my minis and they didn't have that money. I offered them Komodos. They didn't have it. They said, look, we're just going to buy these FX6s. They sent all the gear, and it was so disorganized and everything like that because they don't care about it and know about it. But we ended up using their gear, and we just did the prep and the shoot. That's just how things go. So be the company that's offering them the easier method to get what they're looking for because they're not trying to spend that money. So the question is, are people renting the Aris anymore? Yes. The answer is yes. But you're not getting it from like the people that you said, like the big shows that are coming into town.
The Ravens just bought a second Alexa 35.
I'm surprised they only have two.
They got one last year, and then they got one more this year, and then they'll probably do another next
I'm about
year.
to say, like, I would figure that they would have their own fleet.
They had a fleet of Amiras. They got like 5 Amiras, and they've had those for like 10 years, and then their lead guy is like, we need to get Alexa 35s because NFL Films is now using all 35s. They're always trying to get the nice. I mean, the 35 is a nice camera. I don't know if you work with it.
I haven't yet.
I don't know how much nicer it is than the Mini, though. I'll be honest. And people are like debating, like, yeah, it's nicer, but like how much nicer?
Exactly.
Come on.
Exactly. It's about ergonomics because they finally got everything in it and on it that I believe that they really wanted to, and they got it down to a nice weight. And, I could talk about gear all day, so feel free to cut me off. But I think that they're learning from the mistakes and holes that, and I'm talking about Ari. They've left an opening for Sony to come in with the Venice. And the Venice has all the I/O that you would ever need on that thing. I don't think it has XLRs on there, though, built in. Does it?
The Venice?
Yeah.
Maybe. I don't know. I've only worked with it a couple times because it's always like, I feel like Alexa Mini and Reds, not a lot of Sony.
That's our area.
Stuff. At least
that's our area.
Yeah, at least.
But it's going to change.
Yeah.
Mark my words. You're going to work with a Burano soon.
I did. I have 3 times in the past year. It's all for
the camera's only a year old. Yeah. It's not even a year old yet. Yeah. And you worked with it 3 times already?
Well, 3 days on the same. It's a documentary on all this Boeing stuff.
So we count that as one. We'll count that as one time.
One project.
Yeah, one project. Yeah.
I go by days, man. That's just all.
That's how you get paid. Yeah. But one project. If you worked on multiple projects with the same camera.
No, it's just one project.
Yeah. Yeah. So far. I think I've been paying attention to how often these things come up, and it's been changing. And that camera is smaller, right, than the Venice because they're learning, right? They're paying attention to like, we can make it smaller and all inclusive, so they don't need a cage, and you know what I mean? Like they're thinking about the people so that way they can buy it, and they understand the competition. Unless Ari makes their next camera smaller, I don't know what they're gonna call it either because that the 35 is about the sensor.
Mini? Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Right, micro 35 micro because that one is technically the Mini. Right. So it's a new version of Mini. I don't know where Ari's going to go, but it's probably going to be around 2026 before they actually release something else. It's every 3 to 5 years with Ari. So,
dude, you're on it. This is making me feel good. If I'm an investor, I'm feeling good right now about Baltimore camera.
Yo, I could talk about
because you're like, every 3 to 5 years, Ari comes out with this, and the ergonomics of the Sony Burano.
I'm telling you, man, Sony is catching up.
Yeah, Sony is good. Yeah,
Sony is good.
I think Sony. In my opinion, all the different shoots I work on, I feel like the Sonys are really good for docs and even corporate. Docs,
and that's the area that we live in.
Yes.
There's a lot of that work. So that's why I'm catering to that direction as well. But I mean, we have 2 Ari cameras and 2 Reds, which are Komodos. And I plan on grabbing another Mini LF. I don't necessarily see the value in the 35 right now. We talked about that P&E. I don't see the value in that because the price is going to drop. So I've seen it drop 20 grand already. Exactly. So I think by 2025, like mid to late 2025, the camera's going to go down to like 75 grand, which it should have been or was in the beginning. So we'll see. I'll grab one then, and then the P&E will be a little bit more favorable. But
And thanks for coming out, Baltimore camera baby. I'm looking forward to.
We'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. I appreciate it.
Yeah, I guess I'll see you on set. Hopefully sometime.
I hope so, man.
It's been a while, man.
I hope so. Please, dear God, if you're watching, you know what I mean? Please put us on set.
Yeah. All right, bro.
All right, man. Appreciate you.
Thank you.